So here's a thought. What if the real power of Snowflake isn't actually the hype, but, using it wisely? Welcome, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive. We're going to unpack how you move beyond just adopting a tool like Snowflake
Right.
and actually start unlocking real measurable value. Because Snowflake, this cloud data platform, it feels like it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
The buzz is huge. Adoption's been incredibly fast.
It really has.
But then comes that tricky question, the one we hear leaders asking after the implementation. Okay, so where's the ROI?
Exactly. And that's what the source material we looked at really digs into, how Snowflake can deliver that value, that measurable impact for businesses. But, and it's a big but, it's not automatic. There are conditions.
Yeah, conditions. So our mission today really is to cut through some of that maybe architectural hype.
Get to where the actual business value is. We want to figure out what makes the difference between just, using Snowflake and strategically transforming things in a way that affects the bottom line.
And what that means for you listening, whether you're leading a team or you're a data professional on the ground.
Right. So let's set the scene a bit more. Snowflake comes in, often billed as this total game changer.
Yep, looks great on paper. Implementation might even seem quick.
But, as our source points out, that initial buzz, it can fade pretty fast if the results aren't clear, if people aren't seeing the benefits.
And this really matters, doesn't it? I mean, for leaders, the board is asking about efficiency, agility, driving innovation.
Constantly.
And if you're a data pro, your skills, well, they need to translate into actual business impact. Otherwise, that shiny new platform just becomes another cost center, maybe even adds complexity.
Absolutely. And that's the core insight, really, from the material. Snowflake's value potential. Totally real. Huge potential.
Yeah.
But it is not automatic. You don't just flip a switch.
Okay, so if it's not automatic, where does this value live? Where can we actually find it? The source breaks it down into, I think, 4 main areas.
Yeah, 4 key ways Snowflake can offer measurable benefits. But again, only if you're, intentional about it.
Gotcha. What's the first one?
First up, lowering infrastructure costs. This is a big one people talk about. The key is Snowflake's architecture separating compute power from data storage.
Right, the separation.
Yeah.
How does that actually save money?
Well, it means you only pay for the compute you actually use, often down to the second. So unlike older systems where you had to over-provision, buy servers for your absolute peak usage.
And then they sit idle most of the time.
Exactly, wasting money. With Snowflake, if you set up your compute warehouses right, they can scale up when needed, scale down, even suspend completely when idle, so you cut out that massive waste. Pay for work done, not potential.
Okay, paper, second compute, no idle over provisioning. Makes sense. Area number 2.
Unlocking new revenue streams. This is interesting. It can be indirect, like faster analytics lead to quicker decisions that drive revenue.
Sure, faster insights, faster action.
But it can also be more direct. Snowflake has native features, like secure data sharing. This lets you safely share specific data sets with partners, or even customers, without moving or copying the data.
Ah, so you could potentially monetize insights or build data alliances.
Precisely. You can create data products, build partner ecosystems, things that just weren't feasible or were much harder before. It enables new business models built around data.
Okay, so saving money and making money. What's the third area?
Boosting operational efficiency. This is about streamlining how your data teams work. A unified platform like Snowflake can often replace a whole collection of separate tools for, ETL, warehousing, BI prep.
Less complexity, fewer tools to manage.
Right. And query performance often sees a big jump, so tasks get done faster. Plus, it enables better self-service analytics for business users, meaning your expert data folks aren't bogged down with simple, repetitive report requests.
Frees them up for more strategic work.
Exactly. Less firefighting, more innovation, more value-add work.
Nice. And the fourth area?
Strengthening governance and reducing risk. This is critical, especially in regulated fields. The source highlights built-in features things like dynamic data masking, robust role-based access control, RBAC, object tagging for classification.
Stuff that helps with compliance and security.
Absolutely. It helps you manage who sees what, track data lineage, enforce policies all essential for meeting regulations and reducing the risk of breaches or misuse without necessarily slowing everything down.
Okay, those 4 areas, cost savings, new revenue, efficiency, governance, sound powerful. But you keep saying, and the source emphasizes, it's not automatic. Just having the features isn't the whole story.
Not at all. Achieving those outcomes. It takes, well, deliberate effort, intentional planning up front, having skilled people do the implementation correctly, and then, crucially, ongoing optimization. It's not just installing software, it's a whole strategy.
And this is where those real-world scenarios from the source material become so useful, right?
Yeah.
They contrasted two approaches for, what was it, a health tech company?
Yeah, a health tech company migrating to Snowflake. Great example. In the first scenario, let's call it the ineffective one, they basically just lift and shift, meaning they take their existing, maybe messy, legacy data pipelines, their old queries, complex joins, maybe non-optimized code, and just dump it onto Snowflake without rethinking it for the new platform. Yeah. They miss crucial setup steps. Like maybe they don't partition their large tables correctly, which makes queries slow and expensive. Or they don't configure auto-suspend on their warehouses, so compute resources run 24/7 burning cache.
So they're not using the platform cost-saving features.
Exactly. And maybe user-level governance is kind of an afterthought. Just give broad access.
And the result described in the source, pretty predictable, I guess.
Totally. Within months, costs are through the roof because compute isn't managed. Performance is poor because the old queries aren't optimized for Snowflake. And users are frustrated because data is slow, hard to find, or maybe not even trustworthy. A mess.
Ouch. Okay, so what's the alternative path? The effective scenario for the same company?
Right. This time, they start differently. They begin with an actual data strategy that's tied to clear business goals. Maybe it's improving patient outcomes using data or finding operational savings.
Strategy first. Makes sense.
Then they bring in people who really know Snowflake, experienced engineers. These folks set things up properly from the start.
Like what specifically?
Like isolating compute workloads, maybe different warehouses for data loading versus BI queries so they don't interfere, setting up resource monitors to track and cap spending automatically, using features like secure data sharing maybe to collaborate with research partners safely.
Leveraging the platform's strengths.
Precisely. And maybe they even use Snowpark, that feature letting you run Python or Java code directly in Snowflake for some advanced predictive modeling on patient data, something they couldn't do easily before.
Wow, okay. The difference is huge.
It's night and day. One path leads to spiraling costs and frustration. The other unlocks actual value cost savings, better insights, potentially new capabilities. And the source nails it down to three things: expertise, strategy, and execution. That right there is where the ROI lives.
That really clarifies it. And connecting this back to you, the listener, if you're a data professional, this is so important. Knowing the SQL basics for Snowflake, that's table stakes now. It's necessary, sure.
But not sufficient. Not if you want to be truly valuable. You need to go deeper.
Deeper how?
It's about understanding the why behind the platform. How do you genuinely optimize performance and cost? How do you configure warehouse settings effectively? When and how should you use features like Snowpark or data sharing or the governance tools to actually solve a business problem or create an opportunity?
So it's connecting the tech to the business need.
Exactly. It's about implementing governance that works in practice. It's moving beyond just being a query writer to someone who understands how to architect solutions on Snowflake that deliver tangible outcomes.
Becoming, as the source implies, more of a Snowflake strategist.
That's a good way to put it.
So let's try and wrap this up. Thinking back on our deep dive into this source material, the big question, is Snowflake worth the investment?
And the answer seems to be a clear yes. But?
Always a but.
Always a but, yes, but only if you approach it with that purpose, with that strategy we talked about.
Right. So for leaders listening, it's about making sure that Snowflake Initiative isn't just a tech project, but it's tightly aligned with your actual business strategy.
And crucially, investing in the right people, the talent that knows how to architect value using the platform, not just operate it.
And for you data professionals out there, it really sounds like the path forward is doubling down on those deeper skills, the optimization, the advanced features, the governance.
The skills that directly impact the bottom line, cutting costs, enabling innovation, delivering real business results, that's what makes you invaluable.
Because ultimately, as the source puts it so well, the value isn't really in the Snowflake architecture itself, clever as it might be.
Nope. The value isn't how you architect value with it.
That leaves us with a final thought, maybe something for you to mull over. How are you ensuring that the data tools you're using right now, whether it's Snowflake or something else, aren't just pieces of adopted technology?
How are you actively architecting measurable value with them for your organization and, well, for yourself, what steps could you take, maybe even today, to shift from just adoption towards creating real strategic impact?